Welcome back, listeners, to another captivating episode of Red Hunt, where I, Red, delve deep into the intriguing world of relationship Reddit stories. Prepare to be hooked as we unveil the truth behind the walls of love, heartache, and everything in between. CAA. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to join the hunt. How should I proceed when my husband broke an ultimatum? My husband and I have been experiencing numerous issues in our relationship. One particular problem that I thought was resolved is now broken. Last summer, I gave him a clear ultimatum to quit smoking and drinking. He started attending Alcoholics Anonymous meetings and seeking professional treatment. However, in recent months, it has come to my attention that he has started smoking again and has ceased all efforts to seek help, including attending AAA meetings. He only confessed to smoking when it became impossible to hide, and he did not attempt to quit again. This concealment lasted for weeks, despite my strong belief that honesty is essential in our relationship. I made it clear before we got married that hiding things from me was unacceptable and would prevent me from marrying him. Additionally, I emphasized my unwillingness to be married to a smoker and explained that I do not want my future children to grow up in such an environment. Although he comprehends this, he continues to smoke. I understand that addiction is challenging to control, but he now knows that smoking is a deal breaker for me. He claims he will not be the one to end our relationship, implying that he is betting I will not leave. In addition to the smoking issue, we have numerous other challenges, including financial and emotional problems. This is our third time seeking couples therapy, and we have been together for nearly a decade. He was my first love in every aspect. Regrettably, I am no longer in love with him, but I still attend therapy sessions with him. I find it difficult to let go of past issues and harbor resentment. Moreover, I interpret his current actions as triggering for me and believe that he consistently prioritizes himself over me, failing to back up his words with actions. My desire is to find happiness, start a family, and experience love once again. However, I am in pain. Despite knowing logically that what I see in our relationship is irreparable, I struggle to regain love for him due to my resentment. I understand that ultimatums are meant to establish boundaries, but the thought of letting go of everything I have worked so hard for makes me feel sick. I am seeking guidance on how to approach this situation, as I am conflicted in my thoughts and emotions. Please offer kind advice. It sounds like you've been through a lot in your relationship, and it's understandable that you're feeling conflicted. Ultimately, you know what is best for you and your future, so it might be worth considering individual therapy to help you work through your feelings and make a decision that aligns with your happiness. It's important to prioritize your own well-being and not feel pressured to stay in a situation that isn't fulfilling for you. Trying to get back together with my ex now. She's suspecting she's pregnant. Recently, I ended my relationship with my girlfriend due to some incompatibilities that made our relationship toxic. Unfortunately, a series of negative events occurred in my life. I broke my right leg and had to undergo surgery. I came out to my family and they rejected me, and my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. Additionally, I have been struggling with mental health issues, including severe depression and ADHD. I've tried various medications, but they haven't been effective. I've undergone a genetic test. All of these factors caused me to go to a dark place, and neither she nor I could understand each other. My libido and affection diminished, leading to constant arguments. Despite explaining to her that the problem was with me, not her, she felt unloved and unwanted due to repeated rejections. Anyway, we broke up on January 13th, after being together for 6 months. Initially, we didn't communicate much, but then she had an accident and broke her arm. I did what I could to help her, such as buying medicine and bringing her things to her mother's house, where she was staying. I was in a lot of pain and missed her greatly. In the city where I currently work, I don't have anyone else, so I would call my mother every day and cry to her. I attended multiple therapy sessions to try to cope with the pain. Despite everything, I still loved her and believed she was the one for me. I longed to wake up next to her again, as our connection in the beginning was incredible. To my surprise, she messaged me saying she couldn't accept that our breakup was final and suggested that we talk in person. Things improved between us, and we agreed to work on our personal issues separately while remaining friendly towards each other. However, our relationship became more like friends with benefits, without the romantic aspect. She expressed wonderful things to me, such as saying she would wait for me and that she was there for me. She insisted that we would find our way back to each other and have the life we had planned. I felt happy and confident. Unfortunately, everything fell apart when I had to go to the hospital yesterday due to my type 1 diabetes. As I couldn't drive, she offered to take me, and she was affectionate the entire time, offering hugs, kisses on the cheek, and kind words. Since my phone had no signal, I asked if I could use hers to search something on Google. That's when I discovered that she had been looking up pregnancy symptoms and tests on her phone. I confronted her about it, and she initially claimed it was for a friend. However, I pressed her further, and she finally admitted that on January 28th, she went out with her mother and met a guy with whom she had unprotected sex. It's important to note that during this time, we had been discussing the possibility of getting back together, and she constantly assured me that she didn't want anyone else but me, and the idea of being with someone else repulsed her. I immediately told her to go home and that I was extremely disappointed. I didn't want her near me in that moment. She sent me a text saying she did it because she felt rejected by me and wanted to feel wanted by someone else. I told her that wasn't the truth, and that I no longer wanted any contact with her. In response, she asked if I was turning my back on her and said I couldn't cut off contact because she still wanted to see my cats, which she viewed as hers too. She also claimed she was disappointed in me. I'm going through a lot of pain. Did I handle this situation correctly? Am I being unfair? I'm at a loss and all I can do is cry. It sounds like you've been through a lot, and it's completely understandable that you're feeling hurt and confused right now. It's important to prioritize your own well-being, and if cutting contact with your ex is what you need to heal, then that's the right decision for you. Remember to take care of yourself and reach out for support from loved ones or a therapist during this difficult time. I caught my mom cheating on dad. What should I do? I would like to know what you would truly do if you were in this situation, or what you did if you have experienced something similar. I had a suspicion that my mom was involved with this man she had a past relationship with over 20 years ago, and there were several signs indicating this. I noticed suspicious notifications on her phone on a few occasions, and she would go out and return home very late at night when my dad was out of town. Yesterday, the same thing happened, and she didn't come back at the expected time. I tried calling her multiple times, but she didn't answer. She eventually came home between 3-5 a.m. while I was asleep. At that moment, I realized I needed to investigate, so I checked her phone today and found evidence. The dates showed that she was communicating with him while avoiding me and lying about being sick. The worst part is that my dad believes this man is just a friend because he doesn't think my mom would be interested in him, given their past failed relationship. I'm not sure what to do. I'm still in disbelief that either of my parents could cheat on each other. The situation is complicated because my relationship with my mom is better, although my dad can be rude and annoying to her. Not that it justifies her actions. However, I know my dad would never cheat on her, and she knows this too. He's a good man who genuinely loves her and our family, but he struggles to show it at times. I have a younger brother who is 16, and I'm not sure if I should tell him. He's still quite immature, and I'm worried he won't be able to handle it, causing a lot of turmoil. I have one screenshot that proves the cheating, and I changed my mom's phone access code because I know there is more evidence. I thought about finding the other man's ex-wife and messaging her anonymously, but I heard they're already divorced or separated, so it may not have much impact. The worst part is thinking about my dad. If I tell him, it will likely destroy our family, and it wouldn't surprise me if both my mom and dad started hating me. I know what my family is like, and this could very well happen. I just know that our home would never be the same. Another option is to obtain my mom's password for the platform where she communicates with him, gather more evidence, and threaten her with exposing her to my dad if she doesn't end the affair. And if I am immediately notified about it, I can't bear the thought of not doing anything about it. It eats me up inside. I feel so alone and unsure of what to do. Should I tell my brother? Personally, I'm leaning towards blackmailing the other man into ending the relationship, but I don't currently have anything significant to use against him. Realistically, I believe gathering more evidence and discreetly monitoring the situation while pressuring my mom to end things, threatening to expose her if she doesn't, seems like the best option. However, deep down, I fear that she won't end it and will find ways to continue the affair. Once I find out, we would be in the same, if not worse, position. All I want is to restore my family, as everything feels fake and this house no longer feels like home since I discovered the truth. Another factor that holds me back is that we are my mom's only family. She doesn't have anyone else. Additionally, she had a difficult childhood. Therefore, completely ruining her reputation in the eyes of everyone she knows is harsh and not the goal. I want to save my family, not seek revenge in that way. Saying that it's none of my business is also out of touch, considering the significant impact this situation could have on all of our lives here. It's important to note that we don't live in an environment where kids turn 18, move out, and become fully independent immediately. We only achieve full independence after graduating from university and securing a decent job. However, I'm not sure if I'll be forced to leave the house soon and be on my own. I'm really sorry to hear about what you're going through. It's a difficult situation to be in, and there's no easy answer. It's important to prioritize your own well-being and mental health while figuring out how to handle this. Sharing the information with your younger brother might be a lot for him to handle, so it's worth considering how it might impact him before making a decision. Ultimately, it's a personal decision on how to proceed, and I hope you find the support and guidance you need during this tough time. Am I the antagonist for telling my mom she never should have told my half-sister we shared my grandma? My mom got married again after my dad passed away. I was 6 years old when my dad died and 8 years old when my mom remarried. My mom's new husband is named Jack, and I have a half-sister named Sophie who is also 8 years old. Additionally, I have 2 half-brothers who are 4 and 2 years old. So I was given the name of my paternal grandma. I received the family middle name and her first name. However, our names are not exactly the same because my grandma was the only girl among 12 siblings, and they gave her 2 middle names to represent both her grandmothers. She was thrilled to have a granddaughter named after her, and my parents wanted to honor her. I'm grateful that they did. My mom has a complicated relationship with my dad's family. She wants them to see her as a daughter sister, and not just as my dad's wife widow, but at the same time, she doesn't enjoy being around them or having them around, even before my dad passed away. When Sophie was born, my mom asked my grandma if it would be okay for Sophie to share the family middle name, but my grandma refused because Sophie is not her grandchild. This upset Jack, who wanted to honor his late mother by giving Sophie her middle name. I thought they might get a divorce after that, but they didn't. Sophie ended up with her grandmother's name as a middle name. Jack was satisfied, and my mom didn't complain. My mom has encouraged my half-siblings to see my family as their own, and she has raised Sophie to consider herself part of my maternal family. However, my maternal family only sees them once or twice a year and does not consider my half-siblings as part of the family. They don't have strong feelings towards my half-siblings, but they also don't treat them poorly. They just don't see them as family. Sophie recently became aware of the fact that I was named after my grandma, and she learned from my mom that my middle name is the family middle name that my grandma carried for several decades before I was born. Sophie was upset that she didn't have the family name, and she has tried to convince me to take her to my grandma so she can also have the middle name. This made Jack furious, and he explained to her that she was named after his mom. However, she argued that she doesn't know his mom, but she does know grandma, and she finds it unfair that I have the family name. As a result, Jack is angry at my mom for allowing this situation to happen, and Sophie is upset with me for not helping her. My mom thinks we're all behaving strangely. She mentioned that it would have been nice for my grandma and other family members to fully accept my half-siblings. I told her that none of this would have been a problem if she hadn't told my sister that we share my grandma, and had not taught her to be okay with not knowing her own grandparents. My mom responded by saying that it's selfish of me to keep them to myself. So, am I the one in the wrong here? It sounds like a complicated situation, but ultimately it's not your responsibility to change your name or convince your grandma to share it with your sister. Your mom should have handled the situation better, and it's understandable that you don't want to be caught in the middle. I am disgusted by my boyfriend's toupee. I am a 26-year-old woman, and my boyfriend, 25 years old, let's call him Mark, and I have been in a relationship for over 4 years. We have a strong bond, and I believe we have a very healthy relationship. So, Mark has been experiencing hair loss since he was around 19 years old. When I met him at 21, he had already decided to shave his head completely. I didn't see this as a problem at all. In fact, I found him very attractive with a shaved head. As time passed, Mark experimented with growing his hair, partially shaving it, and trying different hairstyles. I have always liked his hair and his bald head. I genuinely believe he is one of the most good-looking men I have ever met. However, Mark feels extremely self-conscious about his appearance, particularly regarding his baldness. After seeing some TikToks about hairpieces, jokingly referred to as toupee queens, he expressed interest in getting one. I supported his decision, although I personally believed he couldn't improve on his already attractive appearance. Eventually, he went ahead and got a hairpiece. Yesterday was the day he started wearing it, and honestly I am repulsed by it for multiple reasons. Firstly, there is an excessive amount of hair. I have never seen Mark with so much hair before. The hair is coarse, thick, very dark, darker than Mark's natural hair, and it also feels and smells artificial, similar to a wig. It doesn't blend well with his natural hair either. I understand that I may eventually become accustomed to his new appearance, even though I dislike it. However, the touch of it disgusts me immensely. What bothers me the most is that it feels nothing like Mark's real hair, which was thin, soft and fluffy, lighter and not as abundant. It feels eerily similar to my ex-partner's hair, which I already disliked. As a result, I find myself unable to touch Mark the way I used to. I used to love caressing his face and head, kissing his forehead, and running my hands through his hair. I adored him resting his head on my chest. But now I feel repulsed and, in a way, triggered by it. I don't think I can continue these actions. My body tenses up whenever I get close to him, and I have even actively avoided appearing sexually attractive to him because I don't believe I can engage in intimate activities while he looks this way. On the other hand, Mark is extremely happy. He feels handsome and true to himself with his new hairpiece. He used to consider hair as a means of self-expression. According to him, everyone in his life, including some friends and his mother, has assured him that it looks great. I don't want to exaggerate, but my honest thought was that everyone must have been lying to him just to make him happy. I am struggling to find a nice way to put it, but to me it looks like he's wearing a plastic blackbird's nest on his head. I have tried to keep my feelings discreet and not express them too much because I want to support him, and I want him to be happy. However, I am terrible at hiding my emotions and lying. He knows that I am not fond of his new hairpiece, and he believes I will eventually get used to it. I cannot tell him that I don't think I can touch his head when it feels like a replica of my ex-partner's terrible hair. He mentioned that he will be able to remove it at home in 2 weeks. I cannot tell him that he deserves a partner who is attracted to him even when he doesn't feel like himself. I feel awful. I have cried numerous times in the past 24 hours because of this situation. I am lost and don't know what to do. My heart is truly broken, and I find myself missing my partner intensely, even though he is right by my side. It's challenging for me to articulate, but just 2 days ago, I was convinced that he was meant to be my husband and the father of our children. However, now I cannot envision a future with him at all. It sounds like you're in a tough situation, and it's understandable that you're feeling conflicted. It's great that your boyfriend feels more confident with his new hair, but it's also valid that you're struggling with the change. Honesty and open communication are important, so it might be helpful to have a heartfelt conversation with your boyfriend about your feelings and concerns. Am I the antagonist for telling my sister and brother-in-law that they never should have believed my younger niece was lying? My sister Marie has 2 daughters who are 31 and 26 years old from her first marriage. Her late husband, John, passed away when the girls were 5 and 10 years old. Marie met her second husband, Calvin, a little over a year later. They started dating shortly after and got married when my younger niece was 9 years old. Although both girls acknowledged that Calvin wasn't a replacement for their father, John, the oldest accepted this due to her age. However, as the years went by, Calvin expressed his hope that he would still have a fatherly role in the oldest daughter's life, which she didn't seem interested in. The youngest daughter, who was only 5 when John passed away, considered Calvin as her dad figure since he had been in her life since she was 7. She felt that Calvin genuinely wanted to be her parent, which made her question the accusations of lying from her mother and stepfather. Now, the youngest daughter is getting married, and she has made it clear to Marie and Calvin that she doesn't want Calvin to fulfill the traditional role of a father of the bride. She doesn't want him to walk her down the aisle or have a father-daughter dance. Instead, she wants her grandfather on her dad's side to be there, as he is the closest representation of her dad on her special day. Marie and Calvin are extremely unhappy with this decision and find it unexpected, even though the oldest daughter made a similar choice during her own wedding. They have been particularly vocal with me as they believe I, as the girls' uncle, should also feel offended and upset that I wasn't considered. However, because I am close to the girls, I understand their feelings and the importance of having someone who makes them feel connected to their dad on their wedding day. Calvin and I are not those people. It was always clear how the girls felt about this, especially the youngest who wished her dad could have been there for more of her life. Marie and Calvin never fully grasped this sentiment. Just a week ago, Marie and Calvin were discussing how the youngest had deceived them all along, refusing to believe that she had been honest about the role Calvin played in her life. I reminded them that they should have accepted her truth from the beginning, as this wouldn't have caught them off guard. They accused me of treating them poorly and belittling their feelings and thoughts, even though they are valid. So, am I the one in the wrong here? It's understandable that your younger niece wants to honor her dad's memory on her wedding day. It's not fair for Marie and Calvin to expect her to embrace Calvin as a father figure when that's not how she sees him. You're just being supportive and understanding of her feelings, which is the right thing to do. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.